Over the last few decades, life has gotten worse for the majority, and the wealth gap has exploded. The richest 1% of Americans now own nearly as much as the bottom 90%. That's 5 times more than it was 5 decades ago. In just the last year, the 10 richest Americans collectively got $365 billion richer. That means that each of them made an average of $100 million every single day. Now, the average American worker makes about $50,000, so it would take a median wage American worker only about 730,000 years to make an equivalent amount. And now these people are going to get another tax break. So you better believe that American workers are deeply anxious about the future. It's been 17 years now since the Great Recession of 2008, and American workers still haven't recovered. And under capitalism, they never will. Millions of Americans are out of cash. They've tapped out their credit lines. 59% of Americans don't have enough savings to cover a $1,000 emergency expense. Last year, 30% of Americans used a buy now, pay later service, and 30 million Americans had to hawk their valuables at one of the country's 11,000 pawn shops. 60% of households and 82% of individuals can't afford to buy a car in the country that, you know, is known for cars. I mean, it's part of the American dream. Now 82% of individuals can't afford to even buy one. And this is at a time of near record employment. Unemployment is at near record lows. But even if you have a job, pretty much everybody hates their jobs. A recent study found that 81% of 18 to 24-year-olds and 83% of 25 to 34-year-olds are suffering burnout from their jobs. But, you know, don't forget, these are the good times, comrades. These are the good times. The next recession, maybe it started by now, but technically it hasn't officially started yet. And while inflation is the main problem right now, some analysts worry that the economy could slip into a deflationary debt spiral. I mean, none of us can even imagine what's about to come. It's only the beginning. And the capitalist war on American workers' wages, conditions, and quality of life is only going to intensify. Because austerity, unlike anything American workers have ever seen, is the only way that the capitalists can get out of this mess. They're coming after Social Security. They're coming after Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps, housing assistance, and anything else. And all of those cuts, they're going to have a cascading effect throughout the rest of the economy and throughout the rest of the working class, all those jobs and businesses that are supported by that money. And this is the essence of the crisis of the regime. But they have no alternative but to risk the explosion of the class struggle through these attacks. You've all heard of the social contract, right? It's the idea that a population agrees to give up some of its autonomy and freedom in exchange for allowing the state to protect everybody's collective interests. As the Declaration of Independence says, governments are instituted among men and everybody else, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. But how can anybody possibly pretend that the current U.S. government defends the interests of the majority? Without a shadow of a doubt, this is a government of, by, and for the billionaires. But the Declaration has this to say about government. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. In other words, comrades, the most inalienable right of all is the right to make a revolution. Now look, capitalism, it's had 200 years to prove that it can deliver safety and happiness for all, and it has utterly failed.